Greetings of the day class. This is Miss Tabassum, and as you all know that yesterday we have started with a new chapter, that is Partition, written by Gulzar. Here Gulzar talks about how the lives of many has affected by this partition. Gulzar recollects that a gentleman named Mr. Iqbal Singh used to write to him letters stating that Gulzar was his long-lost brother who got separated from them during the partition of India and Pakistan in 1947. At first, Gulzar used to answer to those letters, but later he stopped answering the letters from Iqbal Singh. Days and months passed. Suddenly, after some time, Gulzar received a call from a lady called Mrs. Dandavati, and she told Gulzar that the then Civic Supplies Minister of Punjab, that is Mr. Harbhajan Singh, he wanted to meet Gulzar in person. And he also claims that Gulzar was his lost son who got separated from them during the partition. Finally, Gulzar said that he would surely meet Mr. Harbhajan Singh once he goes to Delhi. Finally, Iqbal Singh goes to Delhi and meets Harbhajan Singh. Harbhajan Singh then introduces Gulzar to a lady and said that this lady was Gulzar's mother, and he said that he would now narrate him a story, and he continued the story as how his son got separated from them. He said that during that time when terrible riots broke in the country, people started migrating. That is, as I earlier also said you, the Hindus and Sikhs from Pakistan started coming towards India, and the Muslims, they started moving towards Pakistan. That time, terrible riots broke up. People were very much frightened, but they were not. They were calm and composed because the zamindar of their area, he was Harbhajan Singh's father's friend, and he supported them and always bolstered their courage that he is after them. And Harbhajan Singh's family also knew that till the support of the zamindar is there, no people could harm them. He also said that the son of the zamindar, that is Mr. Ayaz, was his friend, and they were very much together with the family. And not only that, Harbhajan Singh's eldest son, that is Mr. Iqbal, was being named by the zamindar. So, let's move towards the text. One day, a caravan passed, wailing and weeping so piteously that the entire Kasbah spent the entire night standing on the roof of their houses, watching them go past. It seemed as though that was our last night, and the next morning would surely bring catastrophe. We felt we were being pulled out by the roots. It was as if this were the last of the caravans, and it was time for us to go. Like a traitor, I left my friend, the zamindar. Here, traitor means a person who betrays. So, as I have said you, that there was so much commotion and confusion were there. Suddenly one day they saw that a group of people, they were piteously crying and weeping, and they started moving at night, and these all they watched from the roof of their houses. Now, the next morning they thought would be really a disaster. And they thought that as all the people are moving out, they must also go. And thus, Harbhajan Singh and his family, they left without informing the zamindar. We pretended to keep our spirits. In reality, we were terrified. We had heard that if we managed to enter Jammu from Miyawali, an armed contingent would escort us on our journey towards the plain. Though they were very terrified, very petrified, still they pretended that they were courageous enough. And they had heard that somehow if they could enter Jammu from Miyawali, then an armed group of soldiers, they would accompany them towards on their journey towards the plains. We left our homes as they were open. It was time to go, to march forwards, leaving the soil of our homeland. With two elder sons, a daughter who was then 8 or 9 years old, and you, the youngest. It was a 2-day journey to Miyawali on foot. We would find something to eat in the villages we passed through. So, they left their homes as they were, means they didn't lock nothing, it was open wide. Finally, they moved out and they left their homeland. It was a very, very pathetic situation. It was a very pathetic situation then. They left their homeland with Iqbal Singh and the youngest son, that is whom they consider to be the son, that is Gulzar, and their daughter. The journey was very tiresome because it was a 2-day journey on foot. But they still had faith that they would find something to eat in the villages that they passed through. The riots had taken place everywhere. In fact, were still taking place. By the time we reached Miyawali, our caravan had grown substantially. People from far and wide had joined us. We reached Miyawali at night. So, everywhere the violent fights took place, and still in some place they were taking place. By the time they reached Miyawali, their caravan, that is the group of people, started joining more and more. People from far and wide, they started joining them. And finally, they reached Miyawali at night. Several times in our journey, we had to let go of our children's hand, and in a panic, we would call out to them frantically. There was always a commotion, and then the rumor spread that there would be an attack on Miyawali that night. I have never heard such a silence of fear and terror. That night, we set out again. So, as they were moving towards Miyawali, many people on the way joined them, and as a result, the number of people grew. And it happened many times in their journey that the hands of them, it let go of their children's hands. They got separated from their own children, and they were so panicked, they were so frightened that they used to call them out so that they do not get lost. And there was always a commotion. People, some were crying, some were weeping, some were wailing. So there was a commotion. There was huge hue and cry. And then suddenly they heard some people speaking that there would be an attack on Miyawali that particular night. And that they have never heard such silence. People were so much terrified that there was pin drop silence. And then that particular night they started their journey again. So here is your classwork, that is the make sentences. Partition. There is a plywood partition between the two rooms. Condolences. I offer my sincere condolences to all those affected in COVID-19 and stand shoulder to shoulder with them. Affection. She has deep affection for her parents. Inappropriate. His comments were wholly inappropriate on such a solemn occasion. Bolster. She came with me to bolster my confidence. Frantically, her heart raced as she frantically searched for a place to hide. So class, we will be continuing. This chapter. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for watching. Good day.